Welcome back everyone, thanks for tuning in again. Welcome to you old subs, welcome to you new subs, and if you're not subbed, well you can click sub here, but what I'm asking you today is go over to Juliet's channel and give her a sub because she's really close to 50k and let's just get her to it, you know? So, thanks guys. Today, can you tell? Look, I'm fully on brand. See, look, hat, t-shirt, my socks are even Stans, sick! So massive thanks to Stans UK and Paligap for sending me over a bunch of stuff to get my bikes all set up tubeless. So this is the first in a series of videos. So I'm going to do a setup video today, which includes taping your rims, installing the valves, putting in the sealant, and then tips on how to get them to seat, and then some aftercare, maintenance, etc, etc. My next video, which is going to be a really fun one actually as well, I'm going to test out the dart. I don't actually have one, I'm waiting for it to turn up. Right, so holes of a certain size are too big to seal just with the sealant on a tubeless tyre. So you get these plugs, essentially, that you pop into the tyre. In my next tubeless video, I get to stab a hole in a tyre and see how these darts work. But don't worry, I will use an old tyre, I'm not going to be wasting new ones. Stay tuned for that one. But for today, what you're going to need is your wheels. So I'm setting up 2 sets of wheels today, and I've picked sets that I don't have taped, so I can kind of talk through the taping with you. So I have my road wheels, and I have Juliet's wheels from her Pine Mountain. So we're going to set these up. And for these, I need 2 different rim widths because the mountain bike rims are wider, so check your rim width before you put the tape on. Essentially, the tape should sit really snugly in the rim, and that's what creates a good seal. It's really important when you're taping to get everything nice and tight. But anyway, what will you need? You'll need your tape, a bunch of that, stands obviously, some valves. So I've got long valves for my road wheels, and I've got these shorter valves for Juliet's ones. And then, the most important thing, your sealant. I've always used Stans sealant. It's nice to get sent stuff from a brand that you already love, you know? So thank you, Stans, again. Right, first things first. Thinner tape for my wheels. And what I tend to do is I tend to find the valve hole. I personally prefer doing 2 layers of tape. I feel that that's just, maybe that's just me. Let me know below. Do you use 1, 2, if you're not? And so when you're taping this, it's really important just to get it nice and tight. Just work your way around the rim. I kind of find it's really handy to always keep a thumb holding it because it can slip sometimes. So you want a real nice, tight seal. So don't be scared to pull the tape tight. So that's the first one. But as you can see, when you're doing it, it just ends up sitting straight in there, and you can see it's nice, there's no bubbles. It's all good. I've got this little baking skewer that I actually use to pop through the valve hole so I can kind of see exactly where I'm going to be making a hole. And also don't stab your thumb. Then all I do is I get a scalpel and I draw a little X. I don't know if you're going to be able to see this, I'll give you a close up in a second. Get your valve, and that should just pop in. And it should sit nice and tight in there. So that's what creates a nice seal. Tighten up the ring nice and tight. You don't want to go crazy with it. Finger tight, basically. That's what you're going for. And there we go. There's the first one, all taped. I think we should put tyre on. So I personally like to line up my valves with my with the logo. Up to you if you do, but I mean you kind of should, right? So setting up tubeless is a bit of a roulette game. Like some tyres sit on really easy, other tyres don't. Certain brands work really well. The Stans and WTB are a really good combo. So this is like the easy part, right, of setting up tubeless, and the less frustrating part. It's as simple as taping a rim. The frustrating bit when you set up tubeless comes when you try and seat them. You know, like now tubeless tyres have come a really long way. Like, so you shouldn't really have to use a compressor to get them to seat. You can use like CO2 canisters if you don't have a compressor, and there's pumps that you can get that have like a chamber that build up all the air, so they'll just they'll store up the air, and you can push a release and it just pops your tyre on. But I'll go into some tips when I'm actually pumping them up. So that's that one done. Ready for sealant. So what I need to do is I need to remove the valve core, squirt some sealant in, and give it a pump. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to set up all of the others, and I'm probably going to fast forward this bit. But don't you fast forward it, just have a little chill. One really important thing to remember, the rotation of the tyre, because once you set up tubeless, you don't want to be taking it off to turn the tyre around. Ah! Thought you might like a close-up. Not of me, of the tyres. Where's the valve? These wheels are so heavy. And so you see that's kind of sticking out a little tiny bit. I don't know if you can see that. You just want to give it a little tap. Make sure it's all the way in there. That gives you a good seal. Because this is where the leakage of the air will come. So if there's any little gaps in there, that's when all the air starts leaking out. Right, so I have all my tyres, all my tubes set up. And what you'll need is you'll need one of these tiny little things, right? And you use this to take out this valve core. That means you can just inject sealant straight into it. And so a tip I've got is, I won't do this in the house, I've got to get outside to do this. But essentially what you do is you just get your tyre, your seat to the valve at the bottom, you put your sealant in your injector. So the amount you'd use, I'll read you off here, so 23 to 60 ml tyre, so 60 to 90 millilitres per tyre. I always go at the higher end. I personally would rather have a little bit too much than not enough. So if you leave the valve out when you're pumping up the tyre, obviously the air's not going to stay in the tyre, but what it means is more air can force through that valve, so without using a compressor, you should be able to get the tyres to seat. One more thing, you really do need a good track pump for this. So I have this fabric one. It's really important that you get the maximum amount of air forced into this tyre as possible, because that's what's going to force the bead out. So if it doesn't seat straight away, don't panic. That's very, very common for tubeless tyres. Anyone that's set them up knows that they can be a bit of a nightmare sometimes, but once they're on, they're really low maintenance, they're self-sealing, and there's a lot of benefits rather than disadvantages to them. So, tip, warm soapy water. I don't know if it needs to be warm, but anyway, soapy water. So what you would do is just get a sponge and lightly dab it around the outside, just coat it around the outside once the sealant's in. This will make it easier for the tyre to slide out, so it gives it a bit of lubrication, and it also creates like a temporary seal around the edge of the tyre. So you'll hear, as you're pumping up, as it pops onto the rim, you'll see some bubbling on the sides, you'll see the bubbles blowing out. Essentially what you do then is you give the tyre a shake, make sure the sealant gets all the way around the tyre, and it should seal. What I've noticed quite often is you set up tubeless tyres, you have to pump them up quite hard to get them to seat, so they'll all pop onto the rim. You'll hear lots of popping, and that means your tyre's seated all the way around. Check the edges, see that it's seated perfectly, and then leave it for a couple of hours, and it might lose air. What I tend to notice is that you give it another shake, pump it up again, and it seems to stay, you know. One thing as well is, as far as maintenance, these little valves, they get quite clogged up with sealant sometimes. I haven't changed mine yet, but you probably should change them. I'd say I don't know, every year or every 6 to 8 months, depending on how hard it is to get air in through the tyre, because they do get blocked up with sealant. Let's go outside, fill them up, and see if this works. Oh, I can't see me at all out here, it's so sunny. This is a marble run, by the way, just for anyone that's wondering. Shake. Always give it a really good shake. And I'm going to try and do this without soapy water, so wish me luck. And then give it a bit of a swish around. Was not expecting that to be so easy, I'm gonna be honest. But you know, stand sealant, it's awesome, right? So that's done. So now I'm just gonna do the same thing. I actually did one of those, look at me bending over all weird. So I did one of those with the valve core in and one without, and it actually worked fine with it in. So fingers crossed I can do the same with these. Well, that's like the perfect tubeless setup video, right? Where everything just goes really smoothly. I mean, 2 thumbs up for that. So I actually have a hole in my tyre. Look, this is what happens when you get a hole. Can you see that? Just squirting tubeless sealant everywhere. Seems we're done. Right. So, as you can see, there was a hole in my tyre, so I'm probably going to have to top up a bit more sealant now. So that's just proof, right? Sealant works. Yeah, you saw there was a massive hole, look at that. It's gone. So, mountain bike tyre done, road tyre done, no problems. What? I would say that's totally down to all the stand stuff, right? No, sometimes it can be a right faff. Right, so I'm just going to chuck these on and see how they look. I mean, they're going to look the same, right? But I feel like I've got to complete the process. Right, so with tubeless, I'd say it's 90% in the prep. So if you've prepped it right, if you put the tape on, there's no holes, there's no leaks, the tyres are new, there's no holes in the tyres, it should work pretty flawlessly. Like you saw. Yeah, so you don't need to be really scared of tubeless not working. And if it doesn't work, you can try soapy water, and if that really doesn't work, you're going to either have to use a compressor or a CO2 canister, and that will just force the air in and pop it onto the tyre. If you do have any questions about tubeless that I've missed, hopefully I haven't missed it, let me know below, and I'll see you all soon. Bye!